Morning, everyone. I hope you are all well on this rather blustery Sunday morning. Good morning, in particular, to those who are greeting us, to Peter, to Michael, all the way from sunny Marbella. Lucky you, Michael, Clarice, Rachel, Eitan, and everyone else who are still joining us. Oh, and Carol, thank you very much for your kind birthday wishing. Good morning, Susan. I just saw your husband and sending best wishes to you. So, as Carol has brought up, actually, it is, I have to admit, I am getting a year older. It's the 31st of October, and it is my birthday. Now, firstly, if those are going, some people are going to complain that we should have started an hour earlier. The clocks changed last night, so actually, for once, I am on time. So, I want to share with you an idea. I think it relates to birthdays loosely, and that is, think about it. If I was to ask you,
the whole of your life so far, as all of the days of your life were good, not good, somewhat good, how would we describe our lives? I think the answer is that for most of us, we would say it's a mixed bag. There are days when we wake up and we have the sun shining and we have a great plan of who we're going to meet and what we're going to do, and we're industrious and we're productive and we love it. And there are other days where everything seems to go wrong and it's miserable, like today, and we just want to stay under the duvet. You know, we have days like that where we wish we could just sit down and cry. It's been such a horrendous day. So that's the way I think, myself included, I think that most of us would describe our lives. Is it all good? No. Is it all bad? No. It's a mixed bag. And yet we find that Sarah, as she passed away, and Abraham came to eulogize her and to bury her, the Torah describes that her long life, 127 years, Kulana Yushavos Latovos, they were all equally good. That's baffling. For most people, we wouldn't be able to describe our lives as all good. I don't think anyone could. But think about Sarah. Of all the people that we've ever come across and encountered, nobody, I think, had it harder than Sarah. Sarah, our matriarch, was barren into her 90s, right? She was meant to be the matriarch of the Jewish family, and yet she had to deal with childlessness for most of her life. She had to deal with the rivalry with her and Hagar, who Abraham took as a second wife. There was famine in the land. She joined Abraham, and they left the country. They were kicked from pillar to post. Abraham had to fight wars. It was a real life of upheaval, difficulty, turmoil. How is it that the Torah can describe her life as one of goodness, greatness? Kulana Yushavos Latovos, all her years, all her days of her life were good. We described earlier that none of us, in fact, could possibly say that all our days of our lives are great, are good, right? There are good days which are good, there are days which are not so good. So one of the explanations that I heard, which is an idea which stays with me every single day, and I try, friends, to live with this idea, and I'm sure when we share it very briefly, you'll take it on board as well. And even if it helps us a tiny bit, it's worth saying. The Torah is not coming to tell us, friends, that every single day of Sarah's life, or of any of our lives, is going to be utopia, is going to be idyllic, is going to be picture perfect. That's not what the Torah says. The Torah says about her life, they were all good. They were not perfect. They were challenging. They were difficult, but they were all good. Good doesn't mean that they were easy. Good doesn't mean that they were enjoyable, but she used every opportunity of every single day to the max that she possibly could. She made the most of every opportunity. She counted her days and she made her days count. There's an amazing story in this regard. Let me share it with you briefly. The details are sketchy, but I've heard it numerous times, so let me share it with you. There was a businessman, successful businessman. He went out and he bought for himself a beautiful new Jag. And he's driving along. This was actually in America. He's driving along the one of the roads, and all of a sudden, as he comes to a traffic light, he feels a thud. A stone comes smashing, hitting the side of his car, his brand new car, just driven out the showroom. He's shocked, realizes he's okay, and he's absolutely then becomes enraged. His beautiful shiny car that he's waited to receive delivery of has now been damaged, now been scarred and scratched and dented. He gets out and he's about to scream to find out where that stone comes from, and he sees a boy who the stone's next to him. And he said, "You threw a stone at my car. You wrecked my car. You're going to pay for this." And the boy says, "Wait 1 minute. The reason why I threw that stone is because, if you may not have seen, but next to me, laying on the floor, is my brother who fell out of his wheelchair. And I was pushing him and I'm not strong enough to lift him up and to put him back in the wheelchair. We were trying to cross the pavement and he fell out. I just needed to get someone's attention to see if they could help me lift him back in the wheelchair." The businessman was absolutely startled. He turned everything on his head. From being angry, he became merciful, kind, compassionate, remorseful over the way he treated this boy and the way that he got so worked up about a piece of metal, about the car. He helped the boy lift his brother back into the wheelchair, and he apologized profusely for shouting and screaming and losing it. And you know what happened, friends? That businessman, despite the dent, the ugly dent and scratches on the side of his car, he decided that day forth he was never, ever going to have it fixed. He was going to live with those scratches because it would be a constant reminder as to the correct perspective that we have to have to life. Every day, we have to make sure that we live it to the full. Every day is goodness. It may not bring what we expect. We may find that there's spanners in the wheel, that there's challenges, that there's upheaval, there's turmoil, there's so many ordeals that we go through. And I know that many of the people that are watching struggle with things every day of their lives, as I do. I'm no different to you. Life is not a bed of roses, but perhaps we can have the perspective of Sarah and the perspective that we see from this moving emotional story to just recognize that whatever comes our way is there as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for us to be able to overcome those hurdles, those challenges, the pit stops of life. And please God, in doing so, we'll be able to grow through the experience in the same way that this businessman was able to have a fresh perspective to life and to his situation. Well, we're wishing everyone a wonderful day. I'm afraid I am stuck in the rain. I don't have the sheets, but we will say a refuah shlema prayer and a general memorial prayer. We wish everyone well and long life to all those that are that would be saying Kaddish today. We'll start with the memorial prayer. Adon elamim zecho es nishmais. Shalchu li olamam bavo shekal hakam mispalim bavaram b'ganei netei menuchasam lachim b'lerachamim yasirei b'seisa kanavech li olamim ve'yitzor b'zachis shamat nachlasam yanuchu b'shlom mishkavam v'nama amen. Long life wishes to all. And now, refuah shlema prayer. Mi sheberach avosenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivach Repesach Chaylim. Bavo shanu mispalim bavuram b'sakash baruch hu yimalei rachim alechem lach malefosam vishlach lemefuah shleim shemaim lacharim b'soch shach Yisrael refuah tzanefesh refuah sagov hashavak zmakariv v'noma amen. Refuah shlema to all those that are unwell. Wishing you all well. Thank you for your good wishes. Every day is the birth of another day. It's really a birthday every day, friends. And we have to make sure, as I try to do, and I struggle the same as you, try to make the most of every second of every day. It is a gift. It is the best present we could possibly get. Have a great day. Look after yourselves. Thank you for learning with me, because I gain as much as I'm sure that you do. See you tomorrow. All the